Hello everyone, welcome back to another RDI episode. In today's video, we want to do something a little different. We're going to talk about the designs, about a few tips and tricks that we learned during this time. And let's start with the first one. A few days ago, we were going down the road and we took this picture of this truck, and we didn't realize that it actually had some decals until we got really close. And this is an actual picture of it. And as you guys can see here, you can barely notice the letters. You have to get really close to be able to read them. And I'm gonna move this to the side because I just put it there so you guys will get an idea of like the difference that it makes when you use the right color. I know some businesses have a color that's been established, or especially the big ones, and I doubt this small business had a pre-designed color for their letters or their logo. But this is one of the things that I wanted to start with, and always to make sure that we use the right color for the background. This is a dark background, and a lighter color would be a lot easier to read. I know some customers want a specific color, but let's say you have a customer that's open for different ideas. We always recommend that you guys use a lighter color, like the white one would be the best option. But you could easily use a yellow. You would still be able to read it. Even a light blue could probably be a good option, but not a dark blue. That's one of the first things that we wanted to cover. So always make sure to use the right color, because in the end you may end up replacing the letters, and you don't want to do that. You want to avoid those headaches. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of that since we already covered that part. We would really appreciate if you gave us a like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so. Thank you very much. And let me move these to the side. One of the questions that we get a lot is about the what size for the letters you guys should do, and there's not a specific answer to that. But it's always recommended, no matter if you are working on car magnets or yard signs, or directly on cars, always make sure that you tell your customer the bigger the letter, the better, especially when you use the right color. Always tell your customers, if you have a small, let's say a magnet, like this one here that we have, and the sample is 24 by 14, and it's a very small magnet. The more information you add to it, the harder it will be for people to see. And you want to avoid that, or the customer wants to avoid that. The purpose of all the advertising that the customers add on their vehicles, the purpose of it is to be able to read it as soon as you can and from far away. So if they add so many services, then in the end you're going to have to make the letters really small. And about the sizes, I mean, it is even possible if you're using the Cameo 4 or any Cameo cutters, you could even make the letters as small as, let me enter the number that I will be talking about, just to show you, or just give you an idea. You can make them that small. We've worked with this size, and you can easily cut them, no issues at all. 1/4 of an inch tall by 1 inch long. But what's the purpose? I mean, you would not be able to see it, and it's really hard to weed out when you have letters that size. When working on, let's say, a magnet, this is the size that you want to keep, something around 2 inches tall. I'm talking about just the height, not the width. And that's one of the things that you got to tell your customer. Always tell them that you always recommend that he adds the main services, not every single service. And other things that I'm going to be talking about is we keep going with this video, but that's one of the things that people ask about, the size of the decal, the letters. Also, every time you are working on a design or a product, I wrote the name on top, either if it's a car magnet or yard sign, or like I said, even on decals for cars, always make sure that you have the right sizes, not the right sizes, but the accurate sizes. Like this one, the template, is 24 by 14, which is the size of the magnet that, let's pretend that we are working with that. And before I even enter the phone number, I'm always using the template for that size, 24 by 14. Now, if it's a yard signs, our yard signs are 24 by 18. And as you can see here, I have those sizes. So I get an idea of how big the letters must be instead of just guessing. So always make sure that you, working on a template, make sure that you enter the right size. And the same with cars. If you are going to be working on a design for a car, it's better if you have the actual sizes of the surface. That's the second point. Now I'm going to get rid of, no, I'm just going to move to the side, because we're going to need them for this, for the logos. Okay, so up here, as you can see, we have 3 different shapes for the logos, and these are not the only shapes. I mean, you can find all kinds of different logos, but at least these are the main shapes of logos that we have found, like circular, rectangle, or this is more like a close to a square, but you get an idea. Like some shapes are like this, or some of them are long, like this one here, like at the bottom. And for this one, like the square, it represents just the main shape of the logo. That's what they mean. But just to give you an idea. And now what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to get rid of these. And now I need to bring this to the side. Just to give you an idea, every time we have a logo and we're going to make, let's say, a car magnet 24 by 14, but it can also be yard sign. It doesn't have to be just a car magnet. It can be any kind of product. But we always recognize what type of logo we have. And if we have a circular, or if we have like this one here, like a rectangle that's not too long, we can always use something like this. This is the area we assign for the logo. But it also depends on how many services your customer wants. Later on, I'm going to show you a design that has so many services. And that's the reason we always use something like this for a small magnet, and if it has several services. And we always assign this area for the phone number. Not many people are using their email, although if the customer wants it, I mean, you can always add it on there. But this is the area that we assign for the number, which is usually a little bit over 2 inches tall. And just to give you an idea, but when you have a logo that is more like this, but let's say a little bit longer, then this would be the order that we do the center. The one in the center, we will use this section for the logo, and then a few services in the middle, and again, the phone number at the very bottom. And the last one, if we had a long logo like this here, it will be a lot easier to have just the logo using the top section of the design or the magnet, and then we will have more room for it because the logo is going this way, so we would have plenty of space to add probably a few more services. And the same with the phone number, we will have it at the bottom. So always recognize what type of logo you have, and these are the main templates that we use for our logos. For our magnets or yard signs. And I'm not going to delete them. I'm just going to move them to the side. And I'm going to bring a few samples to give you an idea of what I mean. So like this one is the first one, the one on top. If you see here, I have this section for the logo and then the number. But this customer wanted their email at the bottom. And look at the magnet was 24 by 14. And we were able to add the free estimate, also a few services. We added quite a few services, and this was the best way to go about adding the information without it being a whole mess. Even though it is a little bit, honestly, it has quite a lot of information, but we were still able to add it on there. And you can still read it. So these are just main ideas about when you are working with your products. And I'm going to move them on the side. And then sometimes when you are working on a logo from scratch, this is a perfect example, this one in particular, that see if it's just one color. And I mean, this logo, it's really nice. Luis made this one in particular, and see, you don't really need so many colors to make it look nice. This one, it's a perfect example of that. And about the designs, sometimes you run out of ideas, but this is what we do. So if let's say a customer doesn't have their own logo, the way we also do it, we always go to Google, and then we type in, let's just pretend it's a landscaping. I already looked for it, as you can see, and I always go to images. And not only for landscaping businesses, but you can also do for painting businesses, construction. I'm not saying that you copy their logo. I'm just saying give you an idea. Like this one, for example, they're using just like little pieces of grass with the letters, and it looks really cool. And if you see, they're using green and brown, which goes with the trees. And just to give you an idea, and here they have a leaf. So the reason I'm talking about this is because I know how it is like when you run out of ideas, and this is a perfect example of how you can get some inspiration. Again, I'm not saying that you should copy or make them exactly as they are here, but I'm just saying that you can get an idea if you do not have any clue what to make for them. And also remember that you can only do one color too, and I mean, it looks really nice. Now the next one I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to move this since I'm going to be covering this one in particular. Every time we have something like this, we always try to recognize which is the main color. And the reason our magnet looks a little yellowish, it's not actually yellow, but the reason I picked this color is so we would see it, because let's just pretend it is white, but just wanted to give it a little bit of color so we would see the difference. But if you look at it, we always recognize which is the main color, and in this case, the black is the main color. Every time we cut our designs, I'm gonna make a copy of this to show you. Okay, when you first start with this kind of business, yeah, I understand that sometimes we try to save little pieces of vinyl like this one. We could easily use this section here. That's what we used to do. As we have mentioned so many times in our videos, we try to avoid that. We do not save really small pieces of vinyl. This one will be savable, but for this video, I'm going to pretend that we're not going to save it, and it'll make sense in just a minute why. And now what used to be our magnet now is representing the piece of vinyl that we are going to be cutting. Okay, every time we recognize the main color, let's just pretend this is the black piece of vinyl. But as you know, after you weed out, this is what you will get. And for this sample that I'm showing you right now, I'm going to show you something that you could do, but now I'm going to put this back just to make a point. Okay, I'm going to delete that, but let's just to make a point, I'm going to show you something of how our logo used to be, and how we can, instead of saving that, we can use that section of the vinyl. And I'm going to bring the original. So what you can also do, if you are working with car magnets or just any kind of decals, I'm going to add some contour, because for two reasons. If, let's say, you're in a hurry and you don't have time to add the registration marks, you could easily combine the colors using Rapid Tag. And the way to make it easier is if you add some kind of contour, and I'm going to do that. Okay, so I selected the image, the name of the business, POW, and then I'm going to go here to this image blend tool, and then you will find the second one is a contour. And now I'm going to pull down. I'm going to have to do some work to it, but I'm not going to spend that long really, because I just want to make a point. Okay, and I added some contour, I still got to get rid of or do something to it. Right now our image is combined, but I need to separate the contour with the red part. Now I'm going to click on the contour and then split or break apart, and now I have those images separate from each other. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of this little thing here, and I'm going to click on our contour and go here to shape tool. And if you can see I don't know what these are called, but they're highlighted, and I'm going to get rid of those and see what happens. I'm going to get rid of this one, and probably I can move this just a little bit, but you get the idea. I could also fix this and this section here, but just to give you an idea. But I'm going to repeat the same step for the phone number here. I already highlighted that. Now I'm pulling down and I'm adding the contour, but just pay attention and make sure that the contour are about the same distance, I guess, or the same thickness. And I'm going to repeat the same step. I'm going to click on our contour and then break apart. And now, no, I didn't do it right, I guess. Let me see. Yep. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to move the red colors to the side. And see, it makes it a lot easier if you want to apply the red color on top of that without guessing or having to measure where to place it, because you use the rapid tag and just reposition it as you want. Yeah, you have a few seconds to do that before the vinyl stays on the magnet for good. And you can do the same thing for the bottom part, and that's exactly what we did for this design. And as you can see, I guess in my opinion at least, stands out from how it looks before. And this is how we take advantage of this little section that for us was going to go to waste because we weren't planning on saving it. Little things like this that you can do to improve your design. And again, you don't have to use registration marks, but let's say you wanted to add some registration marks. I'm going to show you real fast how we'll go about it. And what we will have to do, go to rectangle tool and just add a little rectangle here in between this section and just give it some color. I'm going to give it black, and I'm going to get rid of, there's like a little line around this rectangle, and the way you get rid of that is by clicking on this icon here, the X, and then click on the mouse on the right side, gets rid of that. And I mean, there's not really nothing changes really when you do that, but I just don't like seeing that little outline for some reason. And the way I brought the little rulers, just click outside this area here and just keep pressing on the left, click on the left on the mouse, and you just drag it down and you will get those little rulers. And the reason I did it is because I just want to make sure that our other registration mark is aligned with this one here. And I clicked on the same registration mark, and I'm going to press on the right hand side of the mouse, and I'm going to drag it down and let it go, and then copy here. And I'm just going to move it all the way here, probably about there. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to make two copies, or not two copies, a copy of these two. I clicked on the first one, on the first registration mark. Now I'm going to press on the shift button and then click on the other registration mark, and then do not let it go. And now just do a click, right click on the mouse and copy, and just forget about those copies that we made. And now without letting go, still have the registration marks highlighted, and I'm going to click on the contour of the phone number and go to weld and see. Okay, now I can go back and paste the previous registration marks that we made a copy of, and I'm going to do the same, repeat the same step. I'm going to click on the phone number, the red part, and weld. And see, I already have my registration marks for the phone numbers. But again, that's the reason we added the contour, so we didn't have to do this. Didn't have to add the registration marks. And you can do this with not just the car magnets, but you could also do it with yard signs, even directly on cars. And now, let's see. And the same with this one here. What I did here, I recognized which one was the main color, and again was the black color was the main color. And up here we did it a little differently, because first of all, this had to be aligned perfectly. We didn't want that red overlapping, or we just wanted this line to be straight, and that's the reason for this we used the registration marks. And up here we were able to save a little bit of vinyl, because we could make 2 copies of each one, since we had to make 2 magnets. This is what I did to save some vinyl. I did, just to give you an idea. That's not exactly how I did it, but just to give you an idea. So for this color, we were able to put it all together and cut it separately. But this one, we cut just one piece of vinyl, and we didn't save this section here because, again, we just wanted to not waste too much time trying to save every little single piece of vinyl. Okay, and but yeah, that's the reason we did it like this. And this is the picture of not the picture, but the video of us working on this project. Okay, and now to make the same point that I was talking about earlier, I'm gonna bring these 2 here. This is exactly what I did on these car magnets. What I did, oh, actually, you know what? Before I keep going, I'm going to bring 2 copies back. So, and now I'm going to get rid of the background. You know, actually, no. And this is the same thing that I did with the car magnets. This is the main background, the main color. Originally, let me show you. Let me combine it so I can explain to you a little bit better. Let me use a background. And I'm going to give it some color. Originally, this is the image that we had here, looked like this. But since, again, we were wasting this section of vinyl, I decided to add some contour. And that's the reason our magnet looks a lot better, because we added that outline. If we're talking about making decals, it's totally fine. So far, we haven't had any issues combining different layers of vinyl. I guess when it comes to HTV vinyl, you just got to double check, because we have noticed that it lasts a little bit less when you apply several layers of vinyl. But I'm talking about decal vinyl or the Oracal 651. We have never had any issues when layering several layers of vinyl. So that's the reason we decided to do it like this, although we had 3 different layers of vinyl, but we haven't had any issues, because we are just talking about the vinyl, decal vinyl, not the HTV vinyl. Okay, and yeah, this is how our design looked, the main color. And here's one of the things that I wanted to mention. Our customer wanted all this information. Our magnet was the same size, 24 by 14. I recommended that we added just the phone number here, but he also wanted their email, their name, or their profile. And that was, honestly, that was way too much information. But in the end, we always tell, it's always good to give your customer some recommendations, but in the end, you have to do what he wants. You know, it's not like you're gonna do what you want. And in the end, we decided to do it his way, but we still sent him a few samples with the bigger phone number. But in the end, he went for his idea, and that's totally fine. As long as he's fine with it, then he cannot come back and complain that the number was too small, because we already gave him an idea of, or a recommendation. And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about. Okay, now I'm gonna move these back in their original position. And the last thing I want to talk about is not every single logo. You'll know when, but I want to talk about this semi truck in particular, and I'm going to bring this one here to the side. So this is their logo, their actual logo, and this makes it a little bit hard because it has the letters, and the semi truck is facing the same way as the actual semi truck. And as you can see here, the front end of the semi truck is obviously to the right, and same with the logo. But when you have the other side, let me move this to the side to make a point. Since this was the original, you have to be really careful, especially when sometimes the customer is not picky. It's not being picky, I guess, is knowing what you want. And this customer in particular knew what he wanted. And we forgot to check with him when working on this design. We forgot to tell him or ask him about the position of the semi truck for the other side, for the driver's side. And in the end, we had to replace the decal. We had to go and fix it, and we had to reverse or mirror the logo. And let me put one next to each other so you can see the difference. So the letters are still facing the same way, because I mean, you always read them from left to right. So they always have to be, there's no change on that with the position of the letters. The only thing that changed was the semi-truck. And again, when you have certain images, like this one in particular, but here's an example of something that wouldn't change. And let me make a copy of this same image and mirror it, although our letters are going to be facing the other way, but it's still the same design. The grass is the same as the other. The front and the back are basically the same. And when you have something like this, you don't really have to worry about what I just mentioned. But when you have designs like this one here, like the semi truck, that's the only time you have to ask or double check with the customer. And if you follow these, you will avoid so many headaches, because this is not the first time that we had to replace a decal because we didn't make sure of this. This point. We never asked the customer what he or how he wanted his other side of the vehicle. So these are the few points that I wanted to cover for this video. We wanted to make something a little different, and hope you guys like this video. Make sure you give us a like and subscribe to our channel. Unfortunately, US Cutter is not offering the discount anymore, the coupon discount coupon or this coupon discount. They don't have it available anymore, but we will let you know as soon as they put it back. And sorry that you cannot use it as of now, but hopefully in the future you will be able to use that or a different one. We'll let you know. Make sure that you guys get your materials and equipment in the description of the video. And if you guys want to support us additionally, you can also join our VIP membership. And in it, you will get behind the scenes. We'll talk about a little bit about pricing and other things. And yeah, we'll really appreciate if you give us the extra support. There's going to be a join button at I think it's at the bottom of the video or somewhere. You will find it there, join button. Thank you so much. See you guys until the next video. We appreciate all your support.